Welcome to the show. I'm Alan.
I'm Joe.
I'm Jack.
I'm Alexis.
I'm George.
I'm Evelyn.
Oh my God, we got the order right.
Brilliant. Yes.
Right.
Okay, today's session.
It's so one of those days today. It's great.
Look, it's my last day on Bridgewater before Easter, so it's I'm in Taunton tomorrow. So, I missed most of today's session, and I really mean I missed it because I wasn't able to attend it because I was looking after the rest of the room. So I missed all the stuff that happened, and I kept popping in and out at some quite inopportune moments, shall we say. So, what did you guys do in today's workshop session?
What did we do?
Can anyone remember? It was days ago.
We talked about how people what's the word? Unwind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did. That
happened.
And as I recall, music got mentioned again, because this seems to be the commonality that everyone seems to go back to.
I like
Music's
music.
useful.
What can I say?
Music's very useful.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, something about music, it's, it distracts you. It literally forces all your anxiety to go to the exit door. It does that because it's just full of energy. It distracts your mindset, makes you think creative. And, I listen to a variety of different songs and music and composers because, it's the energy out of it. It's the artistic, plus the drums, the drums, anything can beat the drums. So,
It's such a big de-stressing technique that when you can't build a piece of IKEA furniture and you get so annoyed that you ring IKEA customer service, they play ABBA down the phone while you're on hold to get you less stressed out so you're not shouting at the phone representative. And they actually do play ABBA. Like, that is actually what they play. I've rung them up before.
That's, yeah.
So Swedish.
ABBA's a very good thing to de-stress, you must admit.
You're just really, really angry on hold to Dancing Queen. Like, how can you be angry anymore?
You just can't.
Evely has joined the call.
What?
Everly too.
I realised I could get subtitles on my phone and just put it next to the screen.
When did Everline get equal?
Evely.
Because it's interesting.
I've seen some iterations of your name, but this one takes the biscuit.
So how many of you, when you're talking about music helping de-stress, it's about listening to music or rather than performing it?
I'd say listening.
Bit of both, I'd say. I find doing a bit of piano and guitar quite calming as well. But listening to it is like the main thing because it's a lot of effort to play an instrument. Whereas just putting your headphones in and pressing play isn't hard. Or just telling Google to do it, it's even easier than that. So
I just listen to the same songs on repeat, so that always helps.
I like this. I like electric guitar's quite good. Electric guitar without an amp is very calming. It's just like you're just strumming along. It's playing a kind of muted sound. It's really nice. I like Spotify though.
Oh yeah. Has anybody heard of Tom Holkenborg? He's Junkie XL.
Yes.
He is an absolute musician genius because he uses drums, electric guitars. He is just. I listen to him, and he distracts my anxiety. Something about his drum use is just so mesmerizing. It's just awesome.
What was the outfit? Was he Pop Will Eat Itself originally? Was he Pop Will Eat Itself originally, or am I thinking of someone else?
I don't know. He did.
I'll have to Google that.
He's done Mad Max. He's done the new Justice League. He's done everything. The man's a genius. Yeah.
Oh, I know that because I like his stuff because it's him and. Oh no, it's a different person.
Like, how could you not love this? Honestly.
Slightly faded.
Yeah, if Zoom's auto noise blocker wasn't blocking half of that out, it would be a great song.
Oh, it's amazing. I love Junkie XL.
Yeah, I was thinking because there's a few kind of composers who've come out of a kind of that area and gone into composing. Junkie XL is one of them. Trent Reznor's the other one, and there's a third guy. I think he was one of the guys from Pop Will Eat Itself, I think, has gone into composing as well, and all of them are just really use a completely different set of tonal things that just just work so well. It's really altered how film music works. I thought it's just brilliant.
He still doesn't call himself a good musician, Junkie XL.
No, it's weird.
He's awesome. He's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there was a great interview with him because when he did the Snyder Cut, because of the way he was stacked from the theatrical version, and because of the change that happened, he basically just started from scratch again. So it wasn't even kind of this is how far I got. He basically just started again completely because he saw himself as having improved so much in the 4 years since the theatrical cut came out that it'd be better to do it again because he'd do a better job of it. Yeah, the guy's great.
Listen to Crew at War Power. That is just the best thing I've ever heard in my ears.
Yeah, I'll check that out. That's brilliant.
I presume you've all used or heard of Spotify.
Who
I'm
has?
aware of it.
I have songs that I really like because they help me de-stress. But when you go on them on Spotify, you can click the 3 dots next to it and then press go to radio, and it will bring up that song at the top, and then a load of songs like that or by the same artist or with similar tones or whatever, and it's really cool feature because you can just listen to all these really similar songs and it's great. I feel like we might be going off track a bit here though for our 20 minutes.
But this is about the effect of music. I mean, because one of the things that kept jumping to my mind is how much, because I think it might be you, Alexis, you were talking about the way you quite often use it, and it sounds like you're using it more as a catharsis. So it's basically kind of really loud. You're in a bad mood, so you listen to music that represents your bad music, and that helps you out of it.
And then makes me even worse. But no, it's a weird thing with music. It's like I use it on a daily basis going to college. I mean, I use it to block out sound, but I listen to it so much that it becomes silent. It's so weird. And then listen to the same songs on repeat. Just gets boring real quick. I have to get new songs all the time. But yeah, very.
What does Alan listen to when he wants to de-stress or unwind?
It depends. I mean,
Ukulele.
yeah, there's a bit of that as well.
I should know this 'cause I interviewed you.
At the moment, I'm going through a Nick Cave phase because I realised I hadn't listened to Doctorama, and I listened to it now. Jesus, I've got a new favourite Nick Cave song out of that. At the weekend, it was Killing Joke. I'm sure on the way home tomorrow, it might be something a little more aggressive. Again.
It was what at the weekend?
Killing Joke.
Oh, I thought you said Killing Joe. I was like, which Joe have you been killing?
Joe got paranoid.
I mean, Killing Joke is also Batman.
But yeah, it is, and actually the some of the elements of Joker and the Alan Moore Killing Joke are based on Killing Joke, because this is a band that's been around from the 80s through the 90s.
Oh.
I think the last album was 2015. But Jazz Coleman, the lead singer, tends to paint his face in different ways. And I think there's a massive influence in what they're doing and how they're talking about it in the Joker film. It's almost like that film is a reflection of the angst that he's talking about through the previous 30 years of music. But it's basically loud, aggressive, and slightly anti-authoritarian, shall we say?
Sounds like my type of music then.
Laugh a minute.
Ironic that Alan is in a position of authority and listens to anti-authority music.
Yeah, that's not lost on me. I'll still dig out my Crass albums and put them on really loudly. That's punk from early 80s, by the way. So
That's like
Music
having
is
an emo
also-
phase, but more.
emo. This is more emo than emo. Jesus.
Music is also one of the things that concerns me the most about going to university, though, because I like music a lot. And I've heard that walls in university aren't very thick. So if I want to listen to music, sometimes I get really kind of annoyed with headphones, and they, like, my ears kind of get fed up with them, and I don't wear them sometimes. Actual headphones that go over your head, the band on top can hurt after a while.
Yep.
And like these headphones, my ears can kind of get fed up with them after a while. So I like actually listening to music from a speaker as well as headphones. And you can't do that in uni because you'll be disrupting everybody else.
Yeah. Joe, I wouldn't worry about that because you go to find at 3 o'clock in the
That's
morning
the
when the
Lewis
happy
Capaldi
hardcore.
out.
Oh no, I'm dating myself. The happy hardcore, whatever the modern equivalent of happy hardcore is blaring through the paper thin wall from your next door neighbour. You can pretty much put whatever you like on.
I like sleeping at 3 o'clock.
I
mean,
you're going to
you know.
university, mate. You're not going to get
I
any of
thought
it.
you don't like closing your eyes, Joe.
I'm really bad if I don't get enough sleep. Like
Yeah,
you will
especially
know if I
during the
haven't
day.
got enough sleep. I'll be zombie-like for the whole day.
Actually, one of the points I came in to one of these meetings and you were all doing a deep breathing exercise. This is because Jack mentioned about Joe's dislike of closing his eyes. Because it felt to me at that point that everyone kind of just walked in. The conversation after that seemed to be just so chilled.
Yeah.
I walked in, the impression was bloody hell, wow, this is.
I didn't like that because it just made me panic more. Like when, in a weird way, it's like when someone tells you to breathe, it's
Yeah.
like your brain turns off. Like
Well,
it's like breathe in, breathe out. It's like it feels like you're being. I don't know. It just sounds odd, but it feels like you're not breathing.
have you
Yeah.
ever had this thing with like breathing and walking where you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to think about walking now. Oh wait, hang on, I've forgotten how to walk because my brain's just left the walking to me. And oh wait, hang on. No, brain, can you take charge of the walking again, please? I've forgotten how this works. No, okay, great. I'll just stumble around for a bit. But
Or being
like,
drunk.
it happens with breathing as well. If you think about breathing, your brain's like, okay, you can do the breathing now. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't do the breathing.
I found it surprisingly powerful actually. Like when I was doing all of that, like I got so far into it that when I like opened my eyes, I forgot what it was for like 2 seconds, and I
You
was like,
become one with
oh wait,
God.
I'm in college, aren't I?
George became one with the meat there.
I found hearing, like, because I live.
What did you say?
I found hearing the roads and the birds. I found that almost just as powerful because you're almost taking yourself, you're casting your mind somewhere that you want to be instead of where you need to be.
Yeah.
And when you open your eyes, you realize that you've never moved and your mind just went off on a tangent, but in a good way. And I thought, oh, so you can control what you're thinking of.
Well, to be fair, for me it was dead silent, so I couldn't hear anything. Couldn't see anything for starters, so it was just.
Yeah, your eyes
dead
were
silent.
closed. What are you looking at?
I mean, So yeah, it was dead silent, and it was dark, so not much I could do.
I had almost the opposite problem where he said, name 5 things you can hear. And Alan knows this firsthand, but I'm using my laptop right now. And it was going like the clappers. It was like, I was like, that's all I can hear. All I can hear is this stupid laptop fan. And it's decided to be quiet at the moment, which is nice because I hadn't given me peace and quiet all day. And it's finally decided to at 4:10 in the afternoon. I've been using it all day. It's like also you're trying to do a bit of stealthy college work at night, right? It's just like you switch it on. Oh, great, for crying out loud! Everyone's awake now.
I mean, obviously, I'm absolutely fascinated with the issues of kind of being distracted by someone telling you to breathe. That's a bit because it's something I've been using breathing techniques for a long time myself, and I must admit I've never found that issue. That's a really interesting thing to raise up. But
I can't hold my breath for that long anyway because I'm asthmatic.
Oh yeah,
so it was just like
probably yeah. That doesn't help the issue. But yeah, Georgia, Jack, is that something that's worth you kind of doing a bit more exploration into, kind of looking at maybe guided imagery or something like that, other kind of relaxation, guided breathing technique stuff?
I mean, I've sort of been doing that anyway. Like instead of, listening to where you want to be, that it goes back to the music side of things. I sort of close my eyes, listen to music, and I sort of cast my mind to where my fictional world wants to be, because our minds is so creative. You can create your own little multiverse anyway. So I sort of create my own world where, I don't know, You know, I get to hang out with the Joker if I want to, whatever type of music I want to listen to. And then when you stop listening to it, you know, you feel as though you're calmed in a, you know, in a good way. Do you know what I mean? Because you cast your mind somewhere, and because your mind's so focused on creating a little world for yourself, you stop worrying about the things that you were worrying about, and it, you know, de-stresses your anxiety. It doesn't matter if you're thinking about hanging out with a psychopath or Harley Quinn or even James Gunn, because I've had thoughts about hanging out with James Gunn. It's actually quite nice, and it de-stresses your anxiety a little bit. And also listening to the birds. I mean, if someone says to me, I don't like listening to the birds, I'd say they're crazy, because it's quite peaceful.
It's all right listening to the birds, apart from when you're in a cold tent in Cornwall on a summer when you're 6 years old and the birds are yakking at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
When you said about listening to birds, it's almost like, yeah, it's like, look, I find the enjoyment of looking at fish quite peaceful. Like, it's almost the same thing, but quieter. And all you can hear is the tank.
Again, it's kind of back to a sound thing there, because a lot of these kind of visual things you talked about have that sound element, like, you know, the tank, the birds singing. It's, yeah, we're back to sound.
I find birds annoying. It's like
Some people find aquariums really peaceful because
Yeah,
they've got
I
those
like
tunnels that go completely under the thing, and they like the light that the water makes on like the floor and on other people. Apparently that's really cool. I haven't been to an aquarium that I can remember, so at least in the past 5 years. So I wouldn't know for certain, but apparently
you're-
lots of people like
yeah.
that.
What you're on about, I've been to one of them. It's nice, but also terrifying. Because I know
Because
this obviously...
the glass could crack, you're
Fear.
going to drown, you know, the shark above you's going to come in, it's going to land on your head with its jaw open.
Even though there's technically no sharks in maybe some aquariums, but yeah, there's a lot of fear, but a lot of peace at the same time.
So does anyone have anything they're going to take away from today? Because a lot of today's session did seem to be kind of just chatting generally and exploring what was going on. What was that? You had a metaphor you used earlier for the session today, Joe. What was it? Joe?
I had a metaphor. What was my metaphor?
So you said about, you know, today was like kind of going in and raking the leaves of the feelings or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like all your feelings are like a nice calm pool of water. Shove a rake in there and drag it through, and then you're left with all the waves splashing up. And then it's just like, okay, meeting's over. See you later.
I feel like
That's a weird analogy.
I feel like this week is definitely today's one has been a lot more calmer than the last few, because
Yeah.
the
Yes.
last few has been more heavy topics, depending on if taking advice from it or not. It's somewhat helpful.
I also feel like at the beginning, a lot of people were very emotionally pent up at the beginning, and then throughout the sessions, it's kind of gone down a little bit.
Still am. Yeah. There's
It
only
makes
so
me-
much you can talk about.
Yeah, there's only so much that talking can do, but you know, it
I mean-
can get you from here to here. Maybe not all the way down, but it can certainly get you that far.
I mean, yeah, we were also talking about, you know, reflecting back for the past previous 3 lessons, and it just made you realize, oh yeah, we've progressed without even realizing. And what it also made me realize, I don't know if anyone had this, but it made me realize, oh yeah, I'm actually going to miss these sessions after the next.
Yeah, same here.
It's not
And
going to be
it-
quiet. I like
I
this.
was
quiet.
astonished that we'd done that many sessions.
Yeah, and
Ready.
it made me realize I wouldn't want to continue these sessions if a teacher like Alan wasn't in it, because it makes it more comfortable.
Yeah.
But that's just because you're a legend, Alan. But it did make me, you know, I did this because it was just for my FMP, and I'm talking about mental health for key workers and everything like that. But the more we did lessons, the more I'm realizing, you know what, put the FMP aside. This could be helpful for me personally. And that's the best way to understand it. And I was actually, after this interview, I actually interviewed Helen Carpenter for my FMP on Zoom. And she was talking about anxiety. And she said to me, there are two different types of anxiety. One are normal anxieties that everybody has. And the second one, everybody can still get them. But the second one is severe anxiety, where people are just constantly thinking of scenarios where they're believing it and they think this is going to happen, and it's generating more anxiety. And I was thinking to myself, I won't mention me then because that's me. But
That can
but I
also
was
be
like,
everyone.
yeah, I feel sorry. Yeah, I was thinking about myself for a minute there.
That
But
can
it
also
just-
be
yeah.
everyone at the same time.
Yeah, it just made me realise of how appreciative that I had these sessions.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the sessions, but I'm still sat here wondering why Alan thought I needed to go to them in the first place. How did you come to that conclusion, Alan? Do you want to spill the beans on that?
Yeah, I'm okay. I similar to Evelyn and Joe, we were asked to do it by Alan, and when I first started them, I was like, oh, well, this could be useful for other people. But actually, as Jack's just said, I found them really helpful as well. Like, really helpful. Instead of what I thought I'd originally get out of it, I probably got out a lot more.
Evelyn, what did you think of them? Because obviously half of us had never done stuff like this before, and you have.
Completely honest, they were okay. They weren't the best ones I've been to. But then again, I've done first aid mental health training. So I kind of tried to take a backseat because I was like, the issues I'm thinking of that relate to this are probably a bit extreme for this conversation. So it was interesting. I did find it helpful because it's nice to, it was kind of in a way validating in a way of, okay, cool, maybe I do have slightly above average issues with these things when you hear other people talk about them. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm not just being overdramatic. That's genuinely a different thing to freak out about constantly. I thought they were interesting. Like, it's always interesting hearing different people talk about mental health in different ways. This was a far more like laid back way than any of the ones I've seen before. Very much more like a stroll in the park than actually
Being chased by lions down the park.
like, I don't know, it's more not like active, like you're not actively being taught about stuff almost. It's far more chill than a lot of other mental health things. It was very much just, I guess, like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, lots of mental health things have a tendency to be quite serious or funny or like extreme, like high energy emotions, whereas this was very much just chill, which was weird for me and has constantly been weird for me to go to the meetings and everyone just kind of be chill level of energy, whereas I'm used to more either very professional teaching people about it or very focused around like kind of like the method of it being talked about, or things like, oh, it's done in a funny way, it's done in a childish way, it's done in a professional way, it's done in a very serious, this is exactly what you need to do in this scenario way. Whereas all of these sessions have been to me very low energy compared to them, which was really interesting because I don't think I've seen that before particularly. Yeah.
I think it was better that the fact that I knew like I'd had at least one communication with all of the people doing it. I think maybe almost all of the people or all of the people doing it. You know, apart from Alex, who I'd never met before.
Yeah.
So that was quite, I don't know, that was good.
I feel like I think you've only like probably met me once and like not very well.
I mean, I'm fairly sure we have had a brief conversation in Media Academy prior to this.
Yeah, we've only met a few times, haven't we, Alexis? Just a few times.
We were in level 2, George.
It's not like
they weren't supposed to know.
aware of the people already.
I knew at least 2 of the people. And Jack, I knew Jack at secondary school. Jack doesn't remember, but I do.
I remember you.
George,
Really,
I did go to secondary school, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm really sorry, I can't
That's
remember.
fine. I don't remember much about secondary school either, to be honest. That might have been my brain's decision. Probably
I
was.
don't remember it either.
I think to
Something
go,
I just noticed.
go on,
Oh.
Alexis.
Just because I was thinking what Evelyn was saying about how this has been quite chill. It's not like I disagree. I just think I feel like it started off as a storm, like it's almost like you've got head first into like depression, anxiety, self-harm, and then you've kind of drift, and then after all that shit out the way,
Oh my god, that's a grown up.
all that shit out the way, and then you kind of are left with just thoughts, and it's like just general chatter.
Because I'm the way I see it is quite often with intervention stuff like that, you're almost poking till you find the raw nerve, and then when you find that raw nerve, you find that point that really hurt, you work on it. That to me is what counselling and psychotherapy is about. You keep let's prod this. It's we keep prodding it till we figure out what's it, and then we can help it heal. I don't feel that's what's happening here, because I think it's kind of a thing. I know what Evie's saying, but I kind of see that as a good thing, that kind of is about low, that low energy, because I think everyone's feeling safe to actually explore some of those things. And actually, how does this stuff affect me? And I think a number of you have kind of, well, actually, I'm more aware of this bit and I'm more aware of that bit. And
You
I think,
poke enough until
I
you
think
kind of
that-
locate the nerve, and then once you've identified it, then you can back off and
and that's what's been happening. These sessions are,
Yeah.
so we're back
Yeah.
off. So no, we're not going to talk too much about that, because I know there was a point where we were talking about something in session 2, and it's like, actually, no, this is a bit too much. Let's back off, because we're not in the space to be able to deal with that.
I think that maybe why everyone feels like maybe so safe to talk about their, in inverted commas, problems is because, well, it's been presented as a safe space. If it was like, as Evelyn was mentioning earlier, about like done in like a professional way, and like, right, we're going to talk about this, this, and this, and you're going to say this, this, and this. But I think that as it was presented in like as being a safe space, everyone felt more comfortable, maybe.
Possibly.
I could contextualize what I was saying a bit more, because I may have overcomplicated it, because I do that and I'm very tired. So all my energy is being rerouted to communication right now. I am trying. So you've kind of got, when I meant professional is when I've done mental health first aid training. I first did it when I was 7, which, just to contextualize, they were aiming first aid training, and this was first aid training for children in situations where they would have to use the first aid training. So when I did that, it was very much done in a professional way, as in you are teaching people to know how to do a wide variety of different things. Yeah. But in all of the things I've done to do with mental health, there's always been, this is a safe space. Like, this is a safe space, this is safeguarding, that's how it works, so on and so forth. What I was more on about is nearly all mental health things are educational, and even if they are not meant to be about you, they end up being about you, because we perceive the world. This is very much the low level end of mental health stuff. Very low level, in my opinion. I don't know if I'm being accurate, so I'm looking at Alan to see if he's nodding. But this is very low level stuff. Not like saying that's bad, that's a good thing. Don't get into the high level stuff.
This is the high level stuff. Your low level stuff is the high level stuff.
Yeah, it's really difficult to explain. For my experiences, I've had very high level situations where the things they are talking about mental health wise could affect the life and death of someone. So to me, this was really strange, because we were talking about stressing over exams and social situations, and I was kind of like, I usually put that on the back burner. Which is really strange, because it's like watching other people deal with the things, to me, that are very low level. To me, this is all very I don't know how to explain, but higher level stuff is mundane to me.
You keep all of the almost the life-threatening stuff almost not important, or the other way around.
So
Everyone else's first world problems are like this level, and then you've got your first world problems, and they're like, oh, they're like off the chart up here somewhere.
Mundane worries for me are probably stuff that were covered in the talk, but they were seen as when we were talking, they were always seen as like, oh, we don't want to go near that, like, oh, we don't want to touch on that. And to me, that's my everyday. So I was like very confused, and I was like, what? And I had to process, not everyone is almost desensitized to it. So I'm very desensitized to mental health stuff. So that's why I tend to talk about it in a very academic way by accident. So this very much to me was weird because it was like a chill conversation over coffee. I was like it was a very different energy than I'm used to when talking about mental health, because I mainly talk about it either working with activism and being spokesperson-y, which is weird way of talking about mental health still, or I'm talking about it in my everyday life as just kind of just like as simple as getting some bread for dinner or whatever. So this type, like the way they were going about teaching it was really chill. I don't know how to explain it because it's very much you need to experience the other ways of learning about mental health. But this was like going to Alan's lesson, going and talking about something, but we're talking about emotions today. That's a bit weird. Whereas a lot of mental health education isn't like that. It's very much you sit down, you talk about all the things, you touch every single nerve because you need to know. It's education for.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I get what you mean because when you just use Alan as an example, it's like when you go, it's like, well, you said go into Alan's lesson. It's like you talk about it, but you don't talk about it. You talk about it like if you're just chatting, like because it's general, just a general conversation. And then when you go to like a professional, they say it like if it's life threatening.
Yeah.
So it's very, and you can get a very different perspective, and it can be painful in both ways, but more nicer if you're talking to someone who has experience and is just nice to talk to and will listen.
Yeah, like that was kind of what I was going for.
I rounded it up for you.
I'm really sorry, I just rambled.
No, actually, that made perfect sense as far as I'm concerned. Because I think, bear in mind, to go back to that original question that Joe asked, why did I select the? I wanted people who were going to respond in that, and also potentially people who would then be able to talk to other members and be in a situation where they can pass it on. Because remember, this whole workshop was based on what you said, Evie, when it's kind of, you being in situations and you wish other people had that toolkit to cope with a lot of this stuff that you had because of the experiences you've gone through. And so that's I want you in here. So we've got almost like that quality control to the whole thing, and everyone else, because we've had conversations about mental health and various things, and a lot of people have kind of talked about these things. So I know you guys are going to be able to talk to each other in that situation, and then talk to other people outside.
I would come no matter what.
Basically, Evelyn, you're Ofsted to Alan's mental health school.
When I accidentally this idea to begin with, which wasn't on purpose, I was tired then, but I was energetic tired, and this is just what happens when I start talking. But when I first pitched the idea, this was kind of what I was suggesting. I didn't quite know how it would actually work because I don't know how people work, but that was actually like the purpose of the thing has been like hit on the head. Almost like I think it's a good thing that it feels so foreign to me, because that means it is probably doing it in a way that's good for people who haven't got the experience.
It's opening a door, and then if people want to walk through it, they can do that.
Absolutely.
Like the whole thing was, we're obviously going through a pandemic. We're obviously like there is so much going on, and mental health issues are on the rise because obviously isolation usually makes them worse.
Exacerbates.
Extrapolates.
Exacerbates.
words.
Something like that. Words.
It's just
Long words.
everyone should have like basic skills, and they're not
Yeah.
taught to the vast majority of people. And when they are usually done in a, well, kind of scary way, but not necessarily scary because you're usually desensitized to it. But a lot of mental health talking is usually done in a really scary way for some reason, which I've never understood, because it's not
Therapy,
monster.
everyone.
it's not a monster in a
It's
closet
almost
somewhere
like-
that's going to destroy everyone
It's-
if they have the slightest thing.
Yeah.
It's just life.
It's almost like this is what we should be taught on curricular enrichment days at secondary school, instead of the pointless hours of sport and dance. And dance is great if that's what you want to do. If you're terrible at it, do mental health instead. Sport is great if that's what you want to do. If you're crap at it, do mental health instead.
I
But I
do think
still-
there is.
I'm going to stop winding this up now because, well,
No.
it's been 40 minutes, I think, again. I was just trying to do it for 20 minutes.
But we didn't go on tangent. We actually
good
spoke.
news-
about-
We did get it back.
The
one
good
thing
news is that Evelyn came up with a great name for a mental health podcast, the Mental Health Coffee Club podcast.
Oh, I like that. Mental Health Coffee Club.
Copyright
it's-
Joe
Yeah,
Pike
just-
if you ever use that name.
No, I came up with a cool name for a random idea I had. Ask me about it later.
Anyway, I'm going to wind this up. What I want you guys to do is think about. So, obviously, in the next one, we've got someone coming in and kind of having a look at what's going on for the first beginning session. What I think would be quite good if you reflect about, well, what is it that's been really useful about these reflections? What is the one takeaway from any of these sessions that we can do, and have a think about it? So next week we've all.
You're not the only one.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah,
I've summed it up in 5 words for you.
you're not the only one. I like
and
that.
I've got a post-it
hate
note
that.
here. There we go.
I hate that phrase. I've heard it too many times by
Yeah.
Alan.
Sorry, that is my go-to.
The problem
Also-
with saying you're not the only one is, where's the other ones? I want to talk to them. I want to do the exact thing I need to Google to be able to find out more about not
Could
being.
they just wear like a green label if they have the same issues as me, please? And then we can
It's
talk about
either
this.
you're not alone, or you're not the only one. It's like those are the two phrases I hate from you, just because it's your go-to.
Alan, the first day at college,
Where are they? Where are the other ones? Where are the ones who figured out how to deal with this? I need to speak to them right now.
So, ask her.
Every time someone comes up to Alan and says, "I'm suffering with anxiety," okay, Steve, I'll go with the others.
Alan,
Yeah,
Oh,
getting that one.
not them.
on
Right.
welcome day, instead of doing some of those stupid, pointless, socially awkward icebreakers that you do,
Honestly, that
give
helped
everyone
a
a
lot.
colour based on their mental health status, and then they can talk to people.
Oh my god.
Actually, if I can get you guys to help me, which colour for which condition?
No,
What colour do you do anxiety?
Well-
What colour do you do spectrum disorder? What colour? Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
No, it just goes. My brain is okay. I'm going to collapse in a minute.
You joke, right? But I went to a young carers social thing, and they gave us little coloured cards with what we were a carer for and the things that we had, and it was awful and so insensitive that we just made so many jokes about it the whole time because it was so obviously organised by someone who had never met a young carer in their life. It's like, is it the brain things or is it the body things? It's like, you
I've got a
know.
mental image now of a bunch of you post-it notes on your head. You're, oh, my anxiety, my depression.
But if it was a color scale, right, I would be about here right now in the green. If this was I have a great brain, and if this was my brain is shit, I'm going to die.
Wouldn't green be neutral, and
I
then
would
like
be
you
here.
have all the red and yellows, and then blue and greens on the other side?
I think-
Blue's like when you have too much of a good brain.
Yeah, but
I think this recording is
Okay,
Full
so
on now.
so we've got neurotypical,
Yeah.
and then we've got I'm probably here right now.
Yeah.
Here on a regular basis, and I dip down to here every so often.
As
And
the
And on that
person
note,
who-
I think we've got enough.
And then
One.
Joe in secondary school was
I think we've
one
recorded
on
enough.
from that, so it was yellow on a good day,
no, I was off the scale.
orange on a
Yeah.
regular basis,
I
and
was going
red.
to say, and when you get to icebreakers, it's, yeah.
and when I get to icebreakers, we invent purple.
Yes. Right, okay, I'm going to wind that up now. Thank you very much, everyone. That is,
You can never think.
that's really good.
Genius.
I'm sorry, you guys just cracked me up in a really good way.
Well,
that
we
wasn't a
technically finish our
sarcasm.
course at the end of May.
Yes, technically.
How about
Oh.
from May to July when we've got work, when we've done all the work and it's just free time?
Ish. Yeah.
Media Academy turns into mental health podcast.
Yeah, let's do it.
That would actually work.
It would though. It would.
Okay, so everyone say goodbye because I'm going to stop the recording.
Morning.
Bye, thanks.
Okay.
Cheers.
Bye,
I'll see you
recording.
later.
Bye.
Congratulations if you've managed to sit through this.
Hey.